What is up, everybody? It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe Show, the home of Epic Conversations, and I'm the host of Epic Conversations 2020, Best Podcast News Award winner, and 2018 Innovation Award winner given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. Also, I host the only online show in the world for fathers and dads that is sponsored by Dove Men Care. It's also co-sponsored by Dad Central, Canada's national fatherhood organization. And through that collaboration, I've been able to reach out to over 100,000 men, dads and fathers in the world this year. So I'm very humbled and happy about that. We are live November 22nd on the Morning Vibe. And let's say a big hello to Mr. Ryan Oneil Knight. How are you?
Listen, my wife's going to call you and start asking questions.
I wanted to catch you on that.
My wife's going to be like, oh, so what wedding of yours did I miss? But actually, we just had the wedding of my wife's sister. So shout out to Tamika and Darlin, happily married, the new Mr. and Mrs. De Los Santos. So we actually got to have the reception over at Dream Suites YYZ. So shout out to Isaac Eldon Holder Jr. and the team and GC Jerk Express. I know their event team was helping us out. Yeah, I mean, there's always a build up to that wedding day. And then after, you get to just release the stress. So it's done. I think they were happy. The pictures looked great. So smiles all across the board. Her mom, my mother-in-law, was happy. Wife was happy. I feel like it went well. And yeah, now they can live their life. I think they're actually going to do a destination wedding. So his family can be part of it. I know they're in the Dominican. So yeah, just it's exciting. I loved it. And go ahead.
No. How was it having your wife do the planning of the wedding? How was that being the husband, just looking at all the hard work she was doing?
Well, it throws you back to when we were planning our own wedding, because of course more of the heavy lifting was on her shoulders. So I could see it starting to, that the work ethic of what it takes to pull off a wedding day. She was able to kind of jump back into that zone, even though it was for somebody else's wedding, which is, yeah. So kudos to her. Really, I think she pulled it off. And I know she was feeling a bit of the stress, but yeah, she did an amazing job.
Very cool. Very cool. And something incredible happened. Other incredible news this weekend. Ryan and I actually saw each other physically. You forgot that?
So the last time we had seen each other in person was Legacy Symposium of 2019. This is insane. So that was so good. So thank you to Roger Dundas for putting together the mini event over at Fam Food Bar. Was it Fam Restaurant? Yeah, Fam Food Bar. Yeah. So that was lovely. We got to see Janice in person. That was the first time I seen her from.
Janice Bartley was there. There was a representative from Grace Foods was there.
Interesting. I think that's the first time I ever met Roger Dundas in person. I'm pretty sure that's the first time I've met him in person. Because he's
Now, have you ever met his wife, Camille?
Yes.
Yes, so, Camille was at your event.
Yeah. So she was a speaker at the same
at your symposium event. Yeah.
And 2013 is when I first met Camille. We were on a panel together for the
What year?
2013. Roger actually sent me the picture. I was like, what? Wow. So almost 10 years. And then that's how I was introduced to Buy Blacks and just got to learn about everything that they're doing. So yeah.
So you knew Camille like 8 years before you met Camille, 8 years before you met Roger.
Yes.
Wow.
Isn't that wild?
Wow.
Yeah, man.
That is phenomenal. But yeah, shout out to Roger and Camille Dundas of Buy Blacks. Especially Friday was great, sitting down and hanging out with Janice, Gavin Douglas, who is very involved in the real estate, not real estate, life insurance, and represent from Grace Foods. Was really your two wonderful children. Your son didn't look like he was happy with anybody that evening, but that was okay.
He was happy with the food.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yam down, those chicken lollipops and the shrimp. He was on point.
The chicken lollipops are all that. So yeah, folks, if you're in Toronto, especially in the downtown area, support all the restaurants that are involved in Black Restaurant Week. It was sort of the culmination, still the culmination of the finish was yesterday, but it was really good time. There's some people who do some moves with their body dancing wise that I can't even think about that I saw that night. You left before it got a little bit.
I missed the dance party.
Yes. Debbie Deere, quite a dancer of Debbie Deere Productions, and Gavin was putting up his foot in the air, and Roger was doing a little bit of stuff too. And sorry, folks, there were no pictures. There are no pictures.
I missed the best part.
Yeah, that's all right. But we had a really good time, and again, thanks to Buy Blacks and yeah.
And so this weekend also, I mean, I feel like so much stuff has been happening this weekend. So at Bramalea City Center, there was like 3 really awesome things happening. So one was Afrique Style. They used to be in the pop-up that the Bramalea City Center is doing. They now open their own full-time store upstairs by
wow.
And then the new tenants in the pop-up were a combination of a few Black entrepreneurs. So Indie Mindy, Coco Beauty Collection, and Eye Candy Clothing Wear, and I think one other one. So they were in the pop-up, and then outside, Rescue Youth International with GC Jerk Express launched their social enterprise food truck.
Yeah, their second food truck.
Yeah.
Wow.
So got to take lots of pictures and videos. I felt like I was walking through Bramalea City Center all weekend just to capture all the Black launches. So that was so good.
Well, and since go ahead. No, continue. Sorry about that. I
was going to say that connects well into our guest today.
Yes, I was going to say you're such a media pro. Nice segue coming up here. Go ahead.
So we are honored to have a representative from the City of Brampton who is in charge of their foreign direct investment portfolio. So what does that mean?
FDI.
That means countries from around the world investing into Brampton. She is in charge of attracting and promoting Brampton and showing why everything that I keep saying, she says it on a global stage. So we're happy to have Erica Henry-Jackman with us today. Good to see you.
Good morning, Dr. Vibe. Good morning, Ryan. Thank you so much for having us.
Our pleasure.
Yeah, our pleasure. I'll let Ryan lead this conversation for a bit because this is his backyard. This is his yard. And I will join in. But yeah, really thank you so much. Actually, no, I'm going to have the first question.
Yeah, do your thing. Yes.
I don't know too many. Well, I can't really say when was this position created? What's the history behind the FDI coordinator?
Okay, so what the FDI coordinator really is, if you really think back, this goes back decades, even centuries when you think about economic development in cities. It first started with factory smokestacks when every city wanted to get the next factory in, and it's transitioned to attracting other businesses to different areas. So for the City of Brampton, we've really been involved in attracting. We are the Flower City. And I think our first major attractment were our greenhouses. And we're now looking at 125 years later. The mayor and team visited Nigeria in 2020, just 4 weeks prior to the global pandemic. And the mayor was just so very inspired by the startup industries that he was seeing in Nigeria. And he said, listen, we need to be attracting some of these African businesses. They had a discussion. It's the middle of the pandemic, but we understood the value of there's so much opportunities in foreign markets that will help Brampton place itself as to where do we see ourselves in terms of a city as an employer in 25 years, in 40 years. And it was a part of the 2040 plan. Like, what are the jobs of the future and how do we attract them? So we came back September, council passed a motion. We need to definitely have one of our economic development professionals looking at just the Caribbean and African continent. And I'm that person. So I started back in March of this year and just overwhelmed. And I feel very blessed to be able to have a portfolio like this. If I consider my own history of where our people came from, I feel as though I am connected to making sure that one, I am living the dreams of my grandparents, of our ancestors, and we are really sharing a different narrative of how people see the African continent and the Caribbean region. So it's, we're bringing businesses from those places, and not just bringing the businesses. I think one of the things that was important to the Brampton narrative is not just bringing businesses, but providing opportunities for those businesses to remain local, because they know that they are effective economic power engines where they are, and we're not trying to disturb that. But we want to be able to help them expand and scale, particularly into the North American market. And I think the City of Brampton provides that opportunity for businesses to remain local, but scale globally. And this is the time, this is the city to do it in. We are one of the most diverse cities in Canada. We're the second fastest growing. If you can do it here, this is the market to which to do it in. And I'm just helping to amplify our city's message and making sure that we are providing opportunities for the continent and the Caribbean region.
And a big piece that when I always talk to the City of Brampton is what I find is really important is presence, like being present. And every time I go to, when we were talking about the Brampton City Center and the pop-ups, somebody mentions like, oh, this wonderful, beautiful woman from the City of Brampton came by and she was talking about how they could help. I was like, oh, and she's like, yeah, what's her name? I think it was Erica. I was like, what? This woman is everywhere. So I really want to applaud you on being present with the local. They really appreciate it and love to see that the city has their back. But I want to back up just a little bit and learn more about what got you to this place. What's a bit of your background? What were you working on before you started with the city, and what got you into FDI?
All right. So absolutely. So Ryan, I had in 1997, the opposite. So I'm dating myself a little bit, but I know, we're not going to do the math. Back in 1997, I had the privilege of attending the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting in Edinburgh. And at that time, the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting for youth, it was to be somewhat of an incubator for who the Commonwealth saw as potential leaders. And they brought groups of young people together between the ages of 17 and 20 with the sole purpose of making those connections, that in 20 years, when those young people became leaders in their own right, it was a simple phone call away. So whether you were in Tanzania or in Australia or in Toronto or in India, I could pick up the phone because I met you when we were 18. And I say to you, Ryan, we really have a problem with flooding. And you, Ryan, could be in a not-for-profit, you could be in government, you could be a politician, but you are a leader in your own right. And we are diplomatically now creating very young bonds and connections, incubating relationships that potentially could be used 20 years from now. And I thought it was a lot of foresight that the Commonwealth Youth Program decided to do that. And I had the ability then, so, I went, at that time I was representing Antigua and Barbuda. And, it was going to be leadership and empowerment. And I was always a young leader in school. So, it's just another ability to really give that youth empowerment type of messaging. The thing that made 1997 very different for us was that 6 weeks earlier, Princess Diana had died in that fatal car crash. And everything was Europe and the UK was still in a state of mourning. And her last long haul vacation prior to her accident is when she took her boys to Barbuda, which is Antigua's sister island. So I get to the conference and all is a buzz because everybody wants to know everything about Antigua, everything about Barbuda. How was Princess Diana? What did she like when she was there? And it was just a tourism opportunity in a strange way to really sell on the Caribbean. But while there, we had an opportunity to really dig very deep into some of the issues at the time. And one of those issues was youth and AIDS and HIV. And how do we become very supportive? How do we advocate? And I'm talking about 1997. So there's still a lot of stigma behind the HIV crisis in young people, particularly in developing countries where the HIV and AIDS numbers were increasing as opposed to being on the decline, and nobody was talking about it. And we wanted to be able, as a youth delegation at the Commonwealth, to say to our leaders who were meeting at the exact time as us, to say, no, this is something that we want on the agenda, and this is how we want to structure it. So it gave me the ability to really help develop a global voice and understanding what strategies that we were going to use. So I was scheduled to start university that January, and I'm in Edinburgh in September. And I am saying to my parents, I'm thinking of staying a little bit longer. And my mother's like, you have 3 weeks there. So whatever you need to do, get it done in 3 weeks.
Yes. Yeah.
There isn't any longer that you can't stay.
Okay.
But working with the UN there, having the opportunity to do some work with the Princess Trust, I did extend my trip, did some work with former President Nelson Mandela that has fundamentally changed my life forever. And I thought I was going to go into law full sail. I was going to be a lawyer, and that was it. My dad did law, and I was not necessarily seeing myself as going into public service. And after that conference, I recognized, no, this is what I am meant to do. And having for former South African President Nelson Mandela as a mentor is not something that I took lightly. And 3 years earlier, when he was being released from jail, I was in high school. And my dad said, everybody's coming home to watch this live. And my mom says, Eric, it's going to be on over and over. It's going to be on repeat for the next month. There's no need for them to watch this live. And my dad says, you can only see something live once. Okay. And the significance of that. And I didn't understand it. But I remember coming home. I remember what we ate that day at lunch and watching the release live on CNN and never understanding that in 3 short years, not only was I going to be able to meet him, I was going to be able to work with him. And I think it was those little small things that I think that we take for granted in experiencing things. And when our parents have that insight to say instinctively, we as a people need to see certain things live. We need to be in the present. You know, we talk about being present. We need to actually be physically present. I don't think if I didn't have that experience of watching it, it would have meant, or it may even have occurred, that I would have had this opportunity. But that fundamentally changed my life forever. I did go to university. I did do law. I did sociology. I met my husband at university. So my destination in terms of where I would have ended up changed a bit. And Canada has definitely been home for us. But I also decided that I was going to have a voice, and I was going to help amplify the voices of others. I worked for the consulate for Antigua and Barbuda here in Canada for 12 years. I was director of tourism. I know you guys understand the Caribbean economies, so you know tourism is our fastest financial earner. That's how our people work. That's how we eat. And I was heavily involved in the tourism sector there. I did some consulting in Europe and the UK after I left here, still always helping to amplify voices. But when COVID, I worked at the city. I did our visitors guide for the City of Brampton, the 2020 visitors guide. And I think we all kind of talked about what we thought 2020 was going to be and how we envisioned 2020, but then the pandemic hit. And I decided, unlike Canada and other regions of the world where we had CERB, where we had an ability to help give our residents some recourse, in the Caribbean, that just did not exist. That was non-existent. When you don't work, right? The mortgage still needs to be paid. Your kids still need to be in school, particularly for families that had kids in universities, that tuition still needed to be paid. They had no income. And we still have people in the Caribbean that still haven't worked since COVID. So I decided that I was going to spend my time for those 8 months and talk about how do we recover strategically our tourism economies across the region. And I did a lot of work in the beginning months of COVID. How do we continue to engage travel agents? How do we get travel agents to keep the Caribbean top and center? And that really has been my focus. When I saw this posting for the City of Brampton, I just knew that was meant for me. I feel that all of the work that I have done this is where I needed to be, because more than anything, we needed to change the narrative of how people saw the continent, investment opportunities, and how people saw the Caribbean region as just a destination of sun, sea, and sand. There's clearly strategic opportunities for business growth and development. And I was going to use that voice that I started creating back in the late 90s to be able to do that in a post-pandemic environment.
Wait, hold on. How long were you working at the City of Brampton?
Oh, no. I mean, in terms of when I started with the Commonwealth Youth Program in the 90s, but I was with the City of Brampton. I was there in 2019 when I did the 2020 visitors guide. I did take a break for 6 months, and I was doing the recovery strategy for the Caribbean, and then back again in March of this year.
Listen, I need to talk to Mayor Patrick Brown and everybody, Francis. They're hiding you from us. You've been there since 2019, and it's only we got to meet recently. But sorry, I don't know, Dr. Vibe, you had a question.
Yeah, incredible story, and thank you for sharing. I want to know who is the foundation for your leadership, for your drive? And I know you mentioned Nelson Mandela. Was there anyone else along the way that has provided you the uplift, the foundation for your drive, your passion, your commitment?
So, Dr. Vibe, there are, the African provinces, the proverb that says it takes a village. I've been lucky enough to have a village. I think my parents were the first. I think my mom and dad were instrumental in the direction, in this need to give back. Antigua's national motto is each endeavoring, all achieving. And I think that is just in my DNA, that it takes everybody to be able to achieve greater success. I tell people all the time, my husband's my number one critic, but he's also my loudest cheerleader. I don't know if I could do the work that I did if it wasn't for his encouragement. I think our vision of the world is similar in terms of making it a better world than how we met it. But I am empowered by my 7-year-old son. Eric Michael inspires me every single day with what he does. And when I see that bravery, when I see that courage, there are times that, I am extremely exhausted with things. And I look at him and I see this resilience that I said, this is not for me. This is not even for him. This is for his children to be able to see the future very differently, to be able not to have the obstacles that we face. But I also know that I am lucky enough to have a village praying for me. I know I have people who put positive vibes out there that help lift me up. Sometimes when I don't even know I needed to be lifted up, but I know their hopes and aspirations lie in what I do on a daily basis. And, we started off when we were off camera, and I said, how are you doing? And he told me what your purpose here is. And I feel as though we all share a similar purpose in making sure that we are a comfort to people, that we lift people up, that we bring people to where they need to be. And when they can't get there by themselves, we're there to help raise them, right? And just knowing that I have a loving circle of friends and family and strangers that really celebrate and help me with the work that I do, I know it's just a blessing. I know it's a blessing.
And so you mentioned putting the continent on the world stage, or making people understand like it's better than the stereotype that might be out there. So what is, what would you say the reputation of Brampton is on the world stage? Like if you meet somebody in London, England, and on the street, you ask them like, oh, do you know Brampton? Well, I guess there's a Brampton in London, so they might be thinking it out. So just in general, what do you think the current reputation is of Brampton in the world?
So let me just be clear. I don't know if we were to take even if we went to Pearson right now and we were to take a global poll of international visitors coming in, if they knew where Brampton was, I would probably think it'd be 1 in maybe 10%, if that much, because we're not seen on the global scale as a city. We were part of the GTA. We are a part of the GTHA. You say Brampton, people think Toronto. You say Brampton, people think Toronto.
Yes.
It's just a part of Toronto, right? And that's not a bad thing. I think it's so great for us to be seen in the same line as Toronto, because we collaborate a lot. We're so close that it's really hard to distinguish where Toronto starts, where Brampton starts, and where we end. But it was something from a tourism strategy that I worked with in 2019. How do we place? So if I was to talk about what my career is, I've really been a placemaker my entire life, creating places where people want to visit, invest, come back to. Right? I did that from a visitor's perspective when I was director of tourism. I did it when I was working with the Brampton tourism team. I'm doing it now in terms of investment opportunities. What makes Brampton, though, extremely unique more than any place else, even Toronto, is that we have a diversity of culture. 234 cultures, 115 languages. What does that mean today? And what does that mean in the future? It means with Brampton being the second fastest growing city in Canada, it means more languages, more cultures. That will never change. But that's what makes us really so unique and attractive. If we were to think of it just from a solely business perspective, let's say that you were a med tech company and you wanted to get a sampling of the global world. You didn't have the resources to be in every country to test your device. You need to come to a city like Brampton, because you're able to test everything you need from every culture, every ethnicity, every language, right here in the city of Brampton. That's what truly makes us unique. And we have been for a long time, talking about diversity and inclusion and being a mosaic. And that's so important. But you also want to make sure that in some instances, you don't necessarily have that assimilation. It's okay to be different, and it's okay to be able to celebrate that difference. And I think that's one of the things that the city of Brampton provides. You're able to maintain your ethnic cultural identity in a space where there is, Eric, Mike, you want to say hello to our folks here? I told them that you were my.
He heard his name and he's like, "Oh,
yeah, hello." Oh, wow, we got hi. How are you?
Good.
Good. Are you co-hosting with us today?
All right, so we'll talk. We'll be back. Okay. It's really interesting, We just a pause there on why Eric Michael's home from school today. He just needed a mental health day today. He goes, "Mom, I'm overwhelmed. I need a break." And old school, my parents would say, "It's Monday morning. You got to go to school."
Right. I don't want to hear nothing.
Yeah, but we have to understand that our kids post-COVID, pre-COVID, in the middle of COVID, they still have these anxieties. And I said, Eric Michael, it's okay just to take today and just breathe. So he's home today, just breathing. So it's going to be a Lego day today, but that's okay too, right?
Yes.
Because I think if we all had that support with our mental health growing up, we would not have had all these anxieties and different pressures. So he's having a breathing day, and I'm absolutely fine with that. So I'll say in terms of looking at diversity, sometimes people want to be in a place where they feel as though they have that village. And that village includes their entire culture and being able to access their cultural needs. So Brian, I smiled when he told me about what was happening in Bramley, because I went to those pop-ups. I was at the pop-up for the African pop-up fashion thing. Those young ladies were phenomenal.
Yes.
And I'm so happy. And one of the things that I saw while I was there, I know Mayor Brown came with me one of those days because he wanted to go visit the pop-up, and we'd gone. When we were in that store, only 30% of the patrons in the store at that time were ethnically, culturally diverse. And that was just so important, because I think sometimes we stereotype different situations and thinking, well, if it's a Black pop-up, it's only going to be Black patrons. That was not the case. Right?
Yeah.
So that fusion, that bringing people and giving them the exposure and the opportunity to buy and feel and touch and really immerse themselves in different cultures, is what's so amazing. Because these businesses, as much as it may be an opportunity for the Afro-Caribbean patrons to come and find it, it also means that we are now bringing patrons who would not have ordinarily have come into that mall that day. They're now in the mall, and they're going to be shopping at other stores. So you now have the ability to bring a whole new audience into your establishment. So it's an awesome opportunity. And we're hoping at the end of this, going back to your initial question, that 10% of name identifier that people would say the City of Brampton, I can say, well, that's moved from 10% to 70%. I want us to be identified for the right reasons. I want Brampton to be that cultural safety place. I want it to be that place that you go to find, no matter where in the world that you're from, you're able to find a bit of your culture there, and to be proud and to be bold. And I want us to be that little United Nations in Canada. That's what the Brampton, that is how we want to, that's a narrative we want to use. That's a mosaic. When we talk about the mosaic, we want that to be a part of the cultural mosaic.
Well, I'm curious, how do we purposefully do that? Like, how do we create an environment where now you're saying like over 200 cultures exist in a space like Brampton, but then how do we make sure that we preserve each of those cultures and people that have something that's new coming in? Like you said, it might be getting up to 300 soon. How do we make sure that person coming in doesn't feel like they have to assimilate into Canadian values and they can still hold on to some of their cultures and create more of that UN feel?
Well, listen, I think more than anything, I think we have to be thoughtful. We have to be authentic. We really have to be authentic. This is something that has to organically grow. I tell everybody that I am a daughter of the Caribbean, because I am, but I'm a product of Canadian society, and I am just there's nothing wrong with being Canada proud, because I am extremely Canada proud. I know life would be very different from me if I wasn't able to call Canada home. But what Canada allows me to do, what the City of Brampton helps me celebrate, is that diversity. And I think one of the things that we are sometimes missing when we talk about in placemaking, how we brand a destination, how we brand a city, how we brand a product, is being curious and being authentic. I think people need to be allowed to be curious. We need to be allowed to let me touch this, let me taste this. And as much as nothing has changed, the way we taste things, the way we interact with things in a post-COVID environment really changes the way that we socialize. So the first thing, I was really interested when we talked about By Blacks Food Week, right? Our food hasn't changed. Nothing has changed. But the way we taste it, the way we taste our food has. Because for a lot of people, if we think about the pandemic and what the pandemic has done, there is a sense of reconnecting with what made us comfortable, with what made us safe. And it was our ethnic foods, it was our ethnic products, it was that sense of our grandma's cooking. No matter what ethnicity we were in, food became a very safe place for us during the pandemic. One, because of ease, and everybody was tired of cooking themselves. But you had a way of, one, contributing to an economy in a way that was relevant, in a way to keep our local businesses open, which was the first thing. The second thing, it gave us an ability to sit down at a virtual table and really talk about who we are by our food. And I think that's one of the things I think that makes culinary tourism just super, super important to any strategy that anybody does, because sharing a meal with somebody is saying, I'm sharing myself with you, right? So in a post-pandemic era, and that's why when we have these food festivals, when we have these food weeks, it's not just for us. It's a way to just enter a conversation about culture, about identity, about what sustained us. And I think about a simple dish or a simple food like plantain. I thought plantain was the Caribbean thing. We fry the plantain, and I had my Nigerian girlfriend that a meal in Nigeria is not served without plantain. Then I have my South American friend that when we do plantain or even green banana, the Caribbean is normally boiled and stuff like that. My girlfriend in South America is smashing the green banana, then frying it. I'm thinking, who does that? Right? But when you really think about food and what food brings to the discussion, it really is an equalizer, because the sole purpose of food is to nourish. but not just nourish the body, but nourish the soul. So I think when we think about how do we maintain identity and how do we add, it's so important to have those cultural adds and making people feel it's safe, it's okay. We're not going to lose anything by adding two more.
Right.
Okay. Got some comments here saying, where do I sign up? You got my vote. I didn't know that Erica was running. Also, Erica, Henry-Jackman for mayor. Well, the current mayor wouldn't like that, I think, too much. And we also have acceptance of cultural diversity is indeed very important in the move to working together. We also have Andrew here. Food is an equalizer. Well said, and Erica. Erica, let me ask you, because you haven't been in this role a long period of time, how have your previous roles helped you do what you're doing now?
Well, I tell people this: if you can work for the Caribbean, you can work for anybody, right? So you build up a sense of resilience, right? Because sometimes it is the no's. It is we don't have the budget. It is this has never been done before, right? Yes. So just working for the Caribbean, you really had to get very innovative very quickly. But there was a sense of place. I was working for a region of the world that shaped who I am. So it gave me a sense of real determination. And it also helped grounded me because I knew what I was doing on a daily basis meant somebody was able to pay their mortgage, to pay their car payments. The decisions that I was making in terms of what flights were going to fly in, what the volume was, what hotels were going to be open, what I did in terms of marketing the region in North America had a tangible effect on a person's daily life. Because if I couldn't get bums in seats, right, then it meant that a hotel occupancy, which we wanted to be in the 90s, could be in the 30s. And the triple effects of that. So I was able to clearly say the decisions that I made at my desk here affected what people were able to eat, to drive, to own, to be able to do. And I think sometimes from a North American perspective, we don't necessarily are able to see how what we do affects somebody's ability to work, abilities to eat, ability to afford what they can afford. And one of the examples I wanted to share with you is Fogo Island. They are a resort that their daily rate is $2,000 a night. So, none of us can afford that. But when you get your bill,
Ryan can. Ryan can.
Okay. So Ryan,
I can afford half a night. One.
Okay. So Ryan, Dr. Vibe and I need a vacation.
Yeah. Yes.
But you know what that hotel does on their bill, or even on their website before you go? They tell you how your $2,000 a night is being spent. So they will tell you 30% goes on staff wages. Each employee makes X number of dollars per hour. 3% goes to food. Our average spend of food is this. So you know exactly the breakdown by dollar on what your night rate is. That is significant because you may not have been inclined to stay there. But when you see the value or how your money is being used to pay for that, then it becomes very different. And I think the same thing for employees. If I knew in the City of Brampton that I'm getting X, or taxpayers knew I was getting X dollars a year in my role, but this is what this means. This means 6 new businesses. This means 10 new things. It's different because then you're able to justify the work that you do, right? And I think in terms of lived experiences, placemaking is so important to every economy. When we close our eyes right now and we think about 3 words that say Toronto, it's going to be the Raptors or Maple Leafs. It's going to be the CN Tower. And what would your third option be?
Probably Drake.
Drake? Okay. But there is somebody behind the scenes that has been able to curate certain things in our mind when we think about the 416, right? And that person's a placemaker.
T-Dot. Same
There
thing
you
like
go.
T-Dot, yeah.
When you say Tina, I think of Cardinal Official.
Yes,
Yeah.
right? But there is a placemaker behind that strategy,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
Yeah.
So how do we then, so when we think about, so it's not just like, because there's really, some people think being an economic developer is not really sexy, and it probably isn't very sexy, but these are the people that create the opportunities to be able to make places more interesting than they're not. Even something as simple as a Brampton City Center, having those pop-ups, having the food truck outside. It's all strategic, but it also helps create a place for people to want to go to. So it may not be there next weekend, but it's always going to be top of mind that this is a place that understands diversity. This is a place that's looking for new. That's also looking to broaden the type of clients that come into Brampton City Center. And this is how they're doing it authentically, because it does have to do a lot with organic growth.
Wow.
Love that.
Wow. That's fantastic. Christopher Lawrence, I think he came in a little bit later. He's asked, sorry, what does FDI mean?
So it's foreign direct investment. So we are looking to attract investment from foreign countries or businesses. We're looking to attract foreign businesses into the city of Brampton.
He also asked to assist individuals who'd like to import food to the Toronto market. Should say Brampton market, not Toronto
I know
market.
that's what Chris meant. I know Chris meant Brampton. I know Chris is talking about the love for Brampton. So no, there are a lot of opportunities. I think Brampton is really home. It's a food processing home of Canada. We like to say, we are the people that get you your food from coast to coast to coast. A lot of the manufacturing is done here in our food manufacturing sector. And I think one of the lenses that we need to look at opportunities from, particularly in the marketplace to which I represent, is there is now a global trend for gluten-free products, right? Yeah. Think about the Caribbean region, think about Africa, and what types of gluten-free products that we've used for centuries. Things like cassava. That's on everybody's plate growing up, with dasheen and that type of thing that would all be kind of gluten-free. The things that power our friend Usain Bolt from Jamaica, right? The food of the athletes, right? If you think of a food manufacturer like in the city of Brampton that does pasta, Eat Al Pasta, right? Can you imagine if we were able to have cassava that was grown on the continent or in the region being able to be made into pasta here as a gluten-free alternative? So sometimes, yeah. So we just
indoor farming.
There you go. So there's an opportunity for us not to necessarily reinvent the box, but how do we look at how we can put different elements that are not normally in the box from a historical perspective. We know that we in the Caribbean and Africa, we have been on, for the most part, gluten-free diets. So as much as this is now trending in North America, what works and what doesn't work? What can we adapt and make a better? And for us, for me, particularly when we talk about the food manufacturing industry, how do we look at proven staples who for centuries have worked in these regions? How do we now bring them into a North American lens? And when it comes to food manufacturing, I don't think there's any other city more able to help promote that than the city of Brampton.
I'm curious. So if a person in Africa right now is watching this live and is wondering, okay, so what do I do first to start importing or expanding my business to Brampton? What would be some of the initial first steps?
Well, I think the first step will definitely to contact our offices. That is just a logical first step, but contact your offices. Let's discuss opportunities. Let's discuss what you're able to do. The other thing in terms of that, a lot of companies, a lot of places who would love to expand into North America, they need to have it's easier to have a made in Canada type of product. So the ability to get your raw material here, particularly now that Africa has the largest free trade agreement in the world. It opens up so much opportunities for us with the free trade and processing zone that just started in January of this year. Right. So logistically, let's look to see what you can have, what the capacity is, what kind of markets that we want to have access to. But more importantly, see what is trending in North America. Let's not try to recreate anything here. What are the top food trends in North America? And then how do I have a product that can fit into any of those categories? And if the answer is yes, then start the conversation. Because already you have a built-in marketplace.
Right.
So, Erica, let me ask, you handle the inquiries from a global aspect. What about if Black Canadians have those sort of interests to invest in Brampton? Are you still the contact person, or do they need to go to another representative from the City of Brampton?
So, Dr. J, my market is our office, our economic team does a global strategy. I am specific to the Caribbean and Africa. However, we do have somebody in my office as well that does local Canada. But I if you reach out to me, I will put you in the right person.
Yes, I know someone who, especially when it comes to the food, and I think Ryan, I know who I'm talking about, would definitely want to speak with you in regards to as a first touch point in regards to that. So we'll certainly have an offline conversation about that. Mm-hmm. Because I mentioned indoor farming for a reason, because it came up in a recent conversation I was having, and that person was saying, that the real trend right now, food-wise, is do indoor farming. Farming's big, but where's the land? Especially in the GTA, there's hardly any land to do any farming, but having indoor farming facilities, there's opportunity there.
Definitely. And looking forward, so you were talking about the 2040 plan, but let's say 12 months from now, end of 2022 is happening. What does Erica consider a win? Like in your portfolio, what would you want to end 2022 saying we were able to execute this?
Well, Ryan, I want to be welcoming Caribbean and African businesses into the Brampton business space. I think that would be a win. But even not thinking that far, tomorrow, one of the things that the City of Brampton, because right now we're on our FDI virtual mission to Nigeria as we speak. And one of the things that we're going to be hosting tomorrow is a intimate discussion, a cross-border discussion with female business leaders, trying to develop the network. And I'll tell you why this is important for us. I think cross-border relations, that's what I do. But cross-border mentorship is just so very important, particularly for women. When women lead, we don't lead for ourselves. We lead for everybody else. The dynamic's a little bit different. I am encouraged because our Black brothers have always supported the uplifting of women in business in particular. But we know a lot of the strategies that we're trying to look at from a business perspective, they are still very underrepresented. And particularly from a North American lens, we are trying to, or we're saying we're doing a lot of first. But when it comes to the African continent, it's not a first for them. This is something for generation. We've always supported women business leaders and business entrepreneurs. So the discussion that we're having, and I would love to encourage your listeners to join us tomorrow at 9:30, is an intimate discussion. We have 3 very powerful Nigerian business women on the panel, and they will be talking to our very own Councillor Charmaine Williams and my Director of Economic Development, Claire Barnett. And we are going to just have a roundtable discussion on mentorship, the importance of mentorship, the importance of cross-border mentorship, the importance of empowerment for women, and just the whole role, particularly in technology and startups. How do we encourage our young female leaders to have a sense of connection? A lot of the times, we've had a mentor locally, but can you imagine the power it would have if I had a mentor in Congo, in South Africa, in Australia, in Nigeria, in Cameroon, and being able to have those discussions about race, ethnicity, how do we build, how do we grow? So we're really hoping to start the conversation. I think it's a powerful one. I think it'll be game changing, but I also think it helps celebrate, because sometimes when we isolate, we see certain women reach certain positions. And a good example that I would use is current Vice President of the United States, Kamala Harris. And we're so excited to see a female vice president, and we all celebrate that. But we also know that we have had a female prime minister of India. We have female leaders throughout the African continent. So it's not a first in our world, but it's a first in some other jurisdictions. So how do we open up? How do we let our African sisters show us the way through the door? They've had it open for such a long time. How do we allow them to show us a clear pathway for success? And that really is what the conversation is about tomorrow.
Well, we don't want to take away from your Lego time and your work time, but there is one final question we have from the audience. Erica, thank you. Does your services or portfolio provide info sessions to the public about your services?
Well, it doesn't necessarily, but I do a lot of stakeholder engagement, and that's why I welcome the opportunity to be on platforms like yours. So thank you for having me to help get the message out there. But no, it doesn't necessarily have that. But if anybody needs me to do that, this is a new position, so we're able to create and shape it the way we want to. So if that is something that your callers and listeners think that needs to happen, we'll make it happen. We're all about making sure this works. And I know I can't do this by myself. And it is this village that needs to make sure that, one, this is top of mind, this stays relevant, and that we can see value and we can have successes together.
Fantastic. If people want to get a hold of you, what is the best method?
Oh, it's via email. It's really easy. It's Erica, ERIC. Oh, there you go. Brampton. Oh, you guys are on top of it. Erica.Henry-Jackman at Brampton.ca. Please reach out to me.
Fantastic. Ryan, any final comments before we let the Lego mom on her way?
No, and again, appreciate taking the time. I feel like it was really powerful what you talked about with your son taking a mental health break. I know that stuck with me because the education system is so industrial. And we feel like Monday to Friday, 9 to 5 has to be the way. But no, we can design our own pathways. So I love that you're able to hear him and offer that for him. But
Erica,
sorry, go ahead.
No, but Eric, do you have time for one more question?
Absolutely.
Okay. Tim Frey is asking, love the initiative to bring new Caribbean and African business market to Brampton. How much real effort is the local government trying to keep current Caribbean business from closing down? So I don't know if you have direct on that, but I just wanted to bring that up if you have any sort of response.
So Tim, I know on a whole, we are really the mandate of the city right now, particularly in a current pandemic, post-pandemic era, is to keep our local businesses alive. So if there's a local business in Brampton right now that you think is not getting the support that it needs, please reach out to us. We have a really dynamic Brampton Entrepreneur Center as well, but there are several partners in the city. Our focus really is retaining, because there's nothing attractive. I can't bring new businesses into the city if current businesses are failing. There's nothing attractive about that. A part of our attractiveness is a very vibrant district, a very vibrant city to come to. Nobody wants to come to a ghost town. So our message is twofold. Our local businesses will be supported. They have been. If you're not, please reach out to us so we can help you find a solution. But our mandate is to make sure that our current businesses not only survive, but they thrive, because that is what will make it attractive for other people. As we said, that the water, all tides make the water go up. So we are really working in collaboration with old while we're attracting new. So please reach out to me and I can see how we can support you.
And final comment from the wedding planner. Thank you for all this great information and the important work that you are doing. It is so amazing that someone with your knowledge and expertise is in charge of this portfolio. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much.
Exactly what I was going to say. That sums it up perfectly.
Yeah. Well, then so I know who your mentor is now.
That's right.
There you go.
You think I'm smart, but I just pull from other people's smartness.
All right. You're not the smartest person in the house, right?
My daughter knows better than that.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, Erica, thank you so much for everything you have done, are doing, and will be doing. Thank you to you and your family. And we just like to say appreciate it. The mic and the platform is open whenever you want to be on. And most important for you and your family, remember to give each other grace.
Thank you. Thank you so much,
Thank
Dr.
you
Five.
for your presence.
Yeah, thank you so much.
No problem.
Have a great day.
Pleasure. Stay blessed, my friends.
Bye-bye. Oh, and we got a wave in the background, another wave too.
Yeah.
Okay. Yay. Bye-bye. Have a good day. Enjoy your Lego. Bye-bye. Oh, au revoir. All right. Good stuff. All right. That was an epic conversation. And that was fantastic. That was fantastic. And we're getting some good stuff here. Good show, Mr. Vibe and Knight. Sorry, not just me. Love the vibes. Thank you. That was great. Wonderful conversation. And earlier on, I didn't put up on screen, but someone saying, "Oh, can't wait to read your book." Hello.
Okay.
So I think Erica's book. Erica's book.
Still listening. Yes.
Yes, Erica's book. It's coming. It's coming. So
awesome.
Thank you for sharing Erica with us. Lots of great stuff going on in Brampton.
Yeah, I'm feeling the excitement. There's definitely some momentum there. Having that type of representation at the city, and not just as a symbol, but I see the work that she's doing. I feel like we're on the right track to putting Brampton on the map.
And just here's her email address again, erica.henryjackman@brampton.ca. What is up for you for the rest of the week, sir?
Sir, I feel like that was part one of the conversation. Today, we have to do the grand announcements of the contest that we have been running for Buy Blacks Restaurant Week. So, just to recap, the prizes that we're giving away is a $250 Visa gift card, a detailing package from Detailing Nights, some Cocoa Shea butter infusion from Cocoa Beauty Collection, and a Grace gift basket.
Wow.
And the grand prize, $500 cash for one person and their foodie pal. So both get $500 each.
Oh my.
So let's see. Let me share my screen here.
Okay, let's see if you're going to be able to do this with us today.
Oh, and thanks to our partners at AWS, so Amazon Web Services, we're going to be able to be giving $25 Amazon gift cards each Dr. Vibe show. So that was the surprise for you. So when you're listening, and only people that are listening will be able...
so this is good because then we can run the contest actually in real time.
Exactly.
Okay. So we got so how long is that one going to go on for? This is good news to me. That will
at least to the end of the year, and then we'll see if we can continue it all the way through.
Absolutely. You know, actually, we should talk offline. We should maybe offer that on Black Canada Talking too.
Yeah, okay, I love that.
Okay, so definitely. So let's make it happen. Thank you for that. Appreciate that.
Yes. So first one, the 250. Hold on, let me share my screen so everybody can see the selection. $250 Visa gift card.
Okay, hold on here. Let's do. Can I see how this? Okay, there we go.
Can you see it? All right. So for Buy Blacks Restaurant Week. Oh, this is like the edit section. Hold on, let me go back. So I think I just hit ready to award. All right.
And bear with us, folks. There's a first time for everything, but we'll get this better. But especially the $25 Amazon thing, that's fantastic. I think we should do. Maybe we're going to do a promo video on that to encourage the viewers to get up early on Monday and Friday mornings until the rest of the year.
A $250 Visa gift card to Margaret Leandra. So mark that down. And then the detailing package is for festivals in
Toronto. Congratulations. And Ryan or one of his team will be in touch with you. This is our first giveaway, folks. Our first giveaway. So more to come until the end of the year. So that's fantastic.
All right. And so we have to redraw for the shea butter and the Grace gift basket. Oh, actually, yes. So let's see. So Akeem Gardner gets the shea butter.
Wow.
And the Grace gift basket goes to Andrea
Barrett.
Awesome. Okay, so when we redraw now, this is for the $500 grand prize,
Oh,
and then
my
this
gosh.
person gets to
Man,
pick.
you just are pulling things out of your pocket left, right, man.
So the person that wins this now.
Yeah, look at so Andrew's going, me? Yay? Yes, you.
All right. So the person that wins this next one gets to pick a friend to also win 500. So
oh my gosh. So I'm can I be if Andrea wins, can I be her best friend? No, it's not. I can't win because we host this alleged thing they call the Morning Vibe.
Saphia's house. All right. So Saphia just won $500 and she gets to pick, I believe it's she, yeah, our foodie pal to also give $500 to.
Thank you, Andrea. We can be best friends if you we didn't win, but we're best friends anyways. All right. Is that it?
That's the last one I have. Yes. Oh, and so we have to do the hold on, how do I stop sharing? So for the $25 gift card, how are we gonna decide who wins today? So somebody that's listening gets to win.
Okay. All right. So okay, this may be tough. But put in the first person in the comments who puts Erica's email address.
Oh, not bad, not bad. Yeah, who took it down?
And if you didn't, we'll have to then ask another question. Let's see if anyone in the comments. Well, you know what? What we could. Okay, I'm gonna ask another question. Oh, hold on, we got a winner.
All right.
No, that's not right. That's not right. That's not right. Close, but it's not right.
So close.
You were close, very close, but. Okay, yeah. So if we don't get a winner in a moment, well, I'll ask another question.
Okay.
And this will see how much you know about Dr. Vibe.
Oh.
Now it's an easy one, but we'll see. This is comedy.
The friend mash up quick.
Okay. Let's try another one. I host the only online conversation for fathers and dads in the world, sponsored by one of two organizations. One of them is a consumer brand. The other one is Canada's National Fatherhood Organization. Give me the answer to any of them. You're close. You're close. There's more to it than that. You're close.
Oh. Erica.
Okay, you know what? No, well, you know what? Actually, you know what? We've got. Well, I could give it away because Erica got it. Well, close. Erica's in the back room, but in our back room, she got it. She'd like to donate it. Okay, no problem. She says no. Okay, but she was listening. Let's see. A close again. Everyone's like, there's one other word the era cover. There's one other word. Okay, you know what? let's make this easy because there's obviously so a few answers here. First of all, Erica's email address. Andrew, you were close. Erica.Henry-Jackman@Brampton.ca. You were close.
Yes.
All right. Now, I don't see any other answers. Okay. So the two organizations, one is Dove Men Care. So people miss out the care, and the other organization is Dad Central. Those are the two organizations that sponsor the programming. Okay, let's do okay.
Oh, I was thinking of one.
Go ahead.
Erica mentioned she had a mentor.
Okay. Yes,
so
a very
who was
significant mentor in her journey. Who was that gentleman? Significant mentor. When you hear his name, people know his name.
Yes.
All right.
Who caught that? Hey, somebody who's listening.
So there you go. We got it. Nelson Mandela. So there you go. You were late, Tim. You were late. But next time. And she goes, so she will donate. Sheraton says she will donate to someone in need. I appreciate it. That's fantastic.
Donate it on behalf of Ebony Occasions.
Yes. That is so. Ladies and gentlemen, this is why you want to catch us live, because we're going to be doing giveaways now every show. $25 gift cards. That is massive. I'd like to thank Ryan and the ACBN team for offering that added value to the morning vibe. And what's on for the rest of the week? I was actually at the beginning, then you just brought this in. So this is amazing. I love it.
What is happening this week? Yeah, just catching up on meetings, finishing some admin stuff, getting prepared for, well, not so much launching. So today we're doing, continuing the Legacy 365. So every Monday at 6 o'clock, we're going to be doing a replay of one of the webinars from this year's symposium, which was in February, leading up to next year's symposium. So this Monday at 6, it is Doug Minter from Black Chamber of Commerce talking about ideation and getting your business ideas that are in your head into reality. So looking forward to that.
And both of us deal with Doug on a regular basis. And if you don't know Doug, before he came to Canada, he was in charge for a number of years of the Knoxville Chamber of Commerce.
Right, in Tennessee.
And actually, this week I'm going to be posting a replay of the conversation I did with him about 2 Sundays ago, where he was just dropping knowledge bombs.
Right.
And I would say there are not too many people I know, Black individuals, especially in this country, that is connected with corporate Canada like Doug Minter is. And he's only been in this country no more than 3 years. He doesn't have a network. He has a mind.
All right. Yeah.
His mind is deep. So if you anytime you get a chance to speak with Doug Minter, especially when it comes to business, do not waste, or anything you see with him doing live, you're getting some real knowledge there.
Yeah, and he's very accessible, and he's starting his Propel Mastermind, the next round of it. So definitely look out for that.
Yep.
Again.
Absolutely. So I'd like to thank everyone who caught this, especially live now. You just got to start catching us live if you want those gift cards. What time? So era covering, I think the one that Ryan's talking about is at 6 p.m. this evening.
Yes. The work webinar about ideation is at 6.
And how do people access it?
Ooh, good question. So on ACBN's website, when you go to the events page, we have an events calendar. And so it'll be in the events calendar. Or again, you can just email me at ryan.knight@acbncanada.com. And I'll actually events.acbncanada.com will take you to our events calendar, and you can register there.
Wonderful. That is good. So I'm looking at it. It's going to be a great week. Right now, tentatively on Friday, we have a special guest. All our guests are special. They're not guests, they're friends. So I just want to pull up I've got a tentative guest for Friday. And this young lady's name is I'll tell you in just a moment as my screen populates. All right. Yasmin Mathurin, and she has just done a directorial debut called One of Ours. And it actually was premiered on CBC Docs last night. And it's an 88-minute documentary. And it is about a gentleman named Josiah Wilson, who was adopted as a baby in Haiti and raised as in an Indigenous family in Calgary, Alberta. Years later, when he was racially proscribed as an Indigenous basketball tournament and refused the right to play the sport he loves. This is about his travel as a basketball player, being Indigenous, etc. It's won awards. Excellent. And the content itself was an official selection of Hot Docs 2021. So we have her tentatively scheduled for Friday at 9 a.m. If not, we may have another guest. Or, as I said, we haven't done you and I in a while, which is, I don't know, I think maybe that's a good thing because people get tired of us. They want to hear somebody else, but we're looking forward to having on. And we just look forward to you and everything that you do.
Absolutely.
And want to say, as always, if you want to catch replays of this epic conversation, go to ACBN's Facebook page, ACBN's Twitch page, and Ryan Knight YouTube, or you can go to the Dr. Vibe Show on Facebook or on YouTube or on Twitch. And also those who are watching live, in about 1 hour and 48 minutes, I'm going to be hosting on the Dr. Vibe Show an interview with a lady who, Dio is her name. She is based in London, England. She is the founder of the new social audio app called Wisdom. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people have heard about Clubhouse. This is another social app called Wisdom. And it's different than Clubhouse, where Clubhouse, you can have many people live at the same time. Wisdom, it's one-on-one conversations. And I was blessed, back in September to be one of their early adopters or testers of the platform. And one of the nice things is when you start holding a number of conversations, they regard you as a top mentor. And then every time a top mentor does a presentation or does a host a conversation, they go host a talk, you get paid in Bitcoin.
Ah, okay.
And also, too, every talk you do on Wisdom is stored, and you can record it and download it and then repurpose it on different social media platforms, which is something that people who on Clubhouse were banging the doors on for their team for years. And this Wisdom app did it right out of the box. And now Clubhouse is doing it, but they were after the fact. But it's a different platform. But this is Dio is a Black African lady based in London, England. So it's going to be 5 p.m. her time when I do the conversation. And plus, it's her second tech startup. Not her first, right. Her second tech startup. So if you're available today, on Monday, November 22nd at 12 noon on the Dr. Vibe Show, either on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch, I'll be having a one-on-one conversation. It'll be her first Canadian interview.
Excellent. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I'm going to tune in.
Yeah, so if you're watching, please feel free to ask questions. And as always, we're looking forward to everyone having an outstanding week. Stay blessed. Give yourselves grace. As always, we want to end off with this. Live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get small to get stronger. Block assumptions, then aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. Love, faith, and respect. And most importantly, remember to give yourselves grace. We'll see you on Friday. Have a blessed week.